Hi everyone, Sarah Klein here.
And I'm Dr. Stacy Reuille-Dupont.
This short video is for anyone who works with people who are experiencing depression, or if you as an individual experience depression, or if you're a yoga teacher, how to meet your students where they're at in the moment.
Right. And so when we look at depression, we're really looking at a lethargic nervous system. So from a physiological standpoint, people tend to feel heavy. They describe themselves as feeling down, burdened. They're flat. They're unmotivated. They'll use a lot of different terms. Some of the emotions they might discuss are things like sadness, but despair is a really big one when it comes to depression. That sense that I can't make it any better. It will never be okay. That kind of pit, that dark hole of despair that says there's no point in any of this anyway. And so when we're looking at that emotional context, then depression comes in with a lot of thoughts. And so depression's the thoughts that go, well, I might as well not be here. It's not worth my time or effort, or nobody cares, or I'm all alone. And we start to see these thought patterns that get really ingrained and stuck. So we have the combination of the physiology being very lethargic, the nervous system being depressed, and then we also have the thoughts that then are trying to make sense of that and reconcile it, which is part of why we use cognitive behavioral therapy as a key treatment for depression as we target those thoughts. However, from a somatic psychology perspective, we can actually target the physiology differently and help move the body, meet that lethargy where it is, and get the energy flowing differently, which is part of why we're here to talk to you today, because yoga has some great tools to be able to move that stuck, stagnant, lethargic energy around when I don't have to just think differently. Because anyone who's ever had depression who just is struggling to get out of bed and change your clothes, brush your teeth, you know that thinking differently isn't really always what you need to do. It's real hard. And so we want to meet the body where it is and then maybe circumvent those thoughts. So Sarah, how do we move?
So how do we do that? So research has shown us that the container of our body, so our posture, directly communicates to our nervous system, which therefore communicates to our endocrine system and tells different hormones to release. And the yogis have said for a very long time that it's much easier to change our body than it is our mind, kind of what Stacy was just talking about. So we can use very specific yoga techniques, tools to shift the container of our body first and then therefore get into the thought patterns. So one really great exercise to do is Kapalabhati breathing. And as Stacy was saying, it's the nervous system in depression shifting to this lethargic state. So we want to wake up the nervous system. And here's just a little side note. Usually what we need is not what we want to do. And you're going to find that with your yoga students and yourself, where sometimes if we are in that lethargic state, we're not going to want to do the uplifting practice, but that's what you need. So Kapalabhati breathing is the breath of fire, and I'm going to stand up to kind of show you. It's right about 2 or 3 fingers below the belly button, and what you're doing is you're snapping the navel towards the spine. And as you kind of move from the low belly, you're really trying to target up here at the solar plexus. And so it's a very rhythmic breath. You focus on the exhale, power through the nose. So it looks like this. Let me show you from another angle. And if you even just try that for a couple seconds, you'll feel how that really revs up the system. Couple other tips of how we can really intelligently sequence both our personal practice for what we need and our sequences when we're coming in working with privates or in a yoga class setting is if we are struggling with depression, we want to lift the energy as we're talking about. So sun salutations, awesome. Standing poses, awesome. Back bends, awesome. What do we not want to do? Deep forward folds. And we talked about that on our last video about how a forward fold is really good for someone with anxiety. So what else would you like to add to that, Stacey?
Just remembering to meet the person where they are. So if they have that lethargic energy, it is going to be hard for them to maybe get excited about what you're doing. They may be willing to do it with you, but meet them where they are. Start small, start slow. Sometimes just in Tadasana, being able to pull up through the arches of the feet brings the energy up the midline of the legs and into the pelvic floor, which is the bowl of being in the torso. So as we're engaging that pelvic floor, we're really starting to tap into the vagal nerve system and the main nerves of the viscera and the posture, which makes a huge difference for just awareness and ability to be present to their own experience. So making sure that just simple movements, meeting them where they are, helping them find that place, and then just bring the energy up just a little bit at a time. Now, because Sarah mentioned our other video on the anxiety and yoga, many people have depression for a period of time and then they also have anxiety, or vice versa. So those two things, if you think about them as sort of opposite ends of a spectrum, hyper and hypo type things, so sometimes it can be really great to meet them with the more movement, more fiery poses, sun salutations, back bends, etc. And then also offer them a few of the folds, but always go where they're at. Maybe you need to start with the folds and then bring them up to more movement. Figuring out where they are individually and helping them have choice goes a long way.
So we are really excited. At the end of the month, we are offering our Integration of Yoga and Psychology 8-week course. And that course is designed for the yoga teacher who is looking to understand the science behind the practice, the ancient wisdom of yoga, the why and the how behind the practices, as well as mental health practitioners who are looking to bring the wisdom of yoga into their clinic, into their practice. And of course, it's also for the yoga geeks out there who maybe want to really dive deeper into the psychology of yoga. And so that is an 8-week course. If you're a yoga teacher, you can get continuing education credits for it. And it starts September 29th. So we're really excited to offer that. The link is in our bios, and feel free to leave comments, questions. We're going to be hopping on to the answer to provide some of the content to our course a couple times a week. So if you have a question in this field, let us know and we'd love to make a video around it. So thanks so much for watching.
Bye-bye.